Hi, I'm Kiwi.
And I'm Jarad.
And we are the two gentlemen, coming to you with connected hearts.
Welcome.
Hello. And the reason why I used that intro was because I was looking at you, Jarad. We're in person again, fortunately. And Erica tells me that hearts can detect each other.
Right.
Yeah, there's like a frequency or something.
Well, I mean, I think there's something to that. How do you explain? I don't know. Sometimes you can sort of sense, you're close to somebody, or you can, there's a lot to it. You can, old friends kind of reconnect pretty easy. So, if you're in it for the right reasons, I think it's quite an easy thing to do. So yeah, I think she's onto something, mate.
Well, I feel connected to you, Jarad. We were just having a great chat on your porch out there.
Yes,
if you can call it that. It's huge.
It's pretty much it's the double garage below my house, and it's the entire basically it's the entire garage, so it's quite a large area. But we're off the street there, right? It's quite a high sort of high in society sort of situation, It's sitting there, men of status, like looking down at the kingdom below. It's it's quite the thing, but it does make you feel the king of the castle. So
we were laughing at the peasants below.
Yes, we were. We're making them. No, but I do enjoy it. I don't know the aspect of it. I'm not too sure why, but it makes me think of like back in the day. When I say the day, but back when Australia settled, you look at how the bigger houses were built. They're all built on a hill.
That's right.
It's overlooking, and it's a sense of power and status, I guess. And I don't know. I'm not saying that I'm there, but it's just there's a nice sort of outlook. I like it. Being high. Being up high, not high.
I knew what you meant. Well, it is actually a really lovely outlook, so thanks for letting me come over to your house.
Yeah, well, it's a nice night. It's a nice night.
It is.
So, yeah.
But you just use that word status and, being high up above things.
Yeah.
I've actually been thinking about status a lot lately.
Right.
Because as you know, I care so much about my image. I just want to let everybody know all my clothes are out of the bin. So
he's not actually lying either. It's not like
a bin, but from council pickups.
Yeah.
I find a lot of good stuff. Well, actually, I don't. It's my son and wife.
You reap the rewards.
I do have some sad news though. My garbage shoes have holes in them.
Oh, no.
I know. It's my mum did warn me. She said there comes a time in every man's life when the shoes he got out of the garbage get holes in them.
Very wise woman.
Very, very wise words. And what comes from the garbage must one day return to the garbage. Yeah.
Well,
so
you've given it a life, mate.
Well, I'm still wearing them.
It's only one hole.
Well, one hole per shoe. You know where the big toe is. It's sneakers.
Did the shoe fit well? Was that the problem?
Oh, it was a perfect fit. I've never had better shoes. I'm not kidding. Yeah. Anyway, I'll be getting another pair of these. Not out of the garbage, unfortunately, but
you never know. Try your luck. You might find it's hard to find. I mean, it's hard for me to find shoes my size in a shop. I mean, you are trying to find it. We get your son to find it in the garbage. Yeah. It's, a little bit more tricky. You may be a little more patient, but
it does. But we're talking about status, and that was the word you used. Clearly, I'm over that stage of my life where I care about my image. I just want to be clear that I'm not some saint or anything. In the past, I was so image conscious, especially growing up as a teenager, and a lot of my adulthood is really about rebuilding myself and putting that behind me. I think I mentioned that in the very first episode, that it was about, burning my old self and rising from the ashes like a phoenix. And I feel like I've actually chosen now the person I want to be, rather than just, falling into this role, being born into a particular family at a particular time of year, a particular age, a particular era.
Yeah.
And just having to, deal with those cards. I've actually, put the cards away, started a whole new deck. And I've chosen who I am. But it means that I haven't pursued life in the same way as other people. And we had a whole episode about that, really.
Yeah.
Where you were basically, your question was like, Kiwi, what happened to you?
Basically, yeah. What the?
How did you become, what's the politically correct word? A loser. I think that was your question, Jared.
Exactly what I was thinking, yeah.
And... I think my answer in short was, if I had financial status, would we be having this conversation? And you were like, no, we wouldn't.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, anyway, I've been thinking about status lately, and essentially, so much of our growth, and this is just an opinion piece here, I don't have a question to the end of this, but my little...
Good.
My line of thinking was, so much of our growth is tied to status, rather than actual personal development. So much of what we think about is increasing our standing in society rather than who we are as people. Mm-hmm. And when we do try to work on ourselves as people, it's almost like a radical step. Like, wow, you're taking time off work to do that, or, that actually costs a lot of money. We'll put so much money into, say, buying an investment property or whatever, but, checking ourselves into rehab doesn't come into the equation at all.
Yeah.
So, like I said, this is just a statement. These are just some thoughts I've had. Jarad, do you have anything to add?
I'm just going to, and from what I've picked up and from what I've been thinking about lately is I've noticed a lot of people resigning from work. Mm-hmm. So this is a status thing, like they've got a decent job, but they're actually, after the 2 years of, we've been through, I think people have taken that step of going, well, hang on a minute, this 2 years I was able to reset. Mm-hmm. I didn't have to work. I didn't have to go to work 5 days a week. Now, not saying this didn't have an effect. This had massive effect on a lot of people, and I'm not trivializing that at all. But I noticed a lot of people that were able to work from home, some relocated to 3 hours away, mm-hmm. but were able to still work. And then they've got to the point now where work said, okay, time to come back. And they go, well, you know what? I don't really want to do that job anymore. I'm gonna get a job where I work at Bunnings, and not saying, but taking a step down from a career step down backwards to working somewhere where they don't have to. Status doesn't bother them anymore. It's about themselves and it's about their family. Yeah. So I think that's connected in a way. Yeah. And it's not a question. It's just something I've noticed that people have been doing, and I've just don't know why. I mean, there's people within my organisation that I've noticed that have moved on. I mean, I don't know their circumstances, but I'm just seeing a lot more. Yeah. And people I've spoken to, and people have sort of said, "Oh yeah, someone I know has done this, and someone I know has moved up to Queensland, and still working, but remotely." Yeah. People are actually dropping the status thing a little bit, and part of changing jobs is. It's a money thing too. So you've got a certain amount of money that you bring in and a certain status that you can live under those means. But people are like, well, I don't need that anymore. I've lived 2 years without it. I don't need to go to the latest this and do this and whatever. I just can function and live life as a better person for myself and my family. So I think it's happening. I think it's happening.
And that's great. That's one of the positives out of being locked down for 2 years. Yeah. That people have actually had an opportunity to re-examine their lives.
Yeah. Yeah. Not much else they could really do. So it was like, it's taking a step back and realizing, oh, this is me. Am I happy with that? And, if I can change it, let's do it. Yeah. If you don't want to, that's fine. If you were hanging to get back to the office and start earning big dollars and going to the movies again and going out to the latest nightclubs and pubs and whatever, great. That's awesome. You're able to do that again. But, I think there's been quite a reset.
And there's nothing wrong with that either. There's nothing wrong with chasing certain things like material gain. It, to a certain point, is really beneficial for everybody. If everybody had clothing, a roof, the means to buy food, that would be great. And access to healthcare as well. I think that's another really important thing. There are people who forego dentist appointments because they don't have the money for it. Well, you make a certain amount of money and that all becomes easy. Yeah. And that's great. But I guess once you get past that point, you've really got to ask yourself, what else am I in it for? Yeah. And I think the reason why I've been thinking about status so much lately is because I do wonder what the next stage of our society's evolution is, because we're trying to be, we talk about, especially in Australia, investment properties has become such a huge thing. Then it's the next thing to get your kids into the right school and all these things that just add up, and they don't necessarily make us better people.
They're things.
Things. Yeah, and something I've recently learned about status is that it's a zero-sum game. You know, if you're the best, someone else can't be the best. Mm-hmm. And if that's what we're basing our self-worth on, well, then it's a real fool's errand, isn't it?
Yep. Yeah, it's a funny topic that I think the more you think about, the more you come up with. But it makes you think. It really makes you wonder, why sometimes. Like you look at, I look at, and I apologise if you're a real estate agent, but I look at like the way sometimes real estate agents work. Part of it, a very small part of it, but part of it is what car you pull up in. And you could be the best real estate agent around, but if you turn up in a Toyota Corolla, you could still do your job just as well, probably better because you're. But when I was looking for houses, and when you'd go and you'd always see the car, a couple of doors down, and it was like, oh, there's the Mercedes. That's the real estate agent, no matter what.
Yeah.
And I saw the two agents were there. One was the principal agent, so he was pretty well off, or appeared to be.
Yeah.
Suit, Mercedes, two-door coupe Mercedes, the car, worth a lot of money. And then the car that pulled up behind him was this P-plate, and it was another agent, but he was obviously an apprentice. I guess. But he had like, an older Mercedes and, the one that we could probably achieve, but you could tell that was his, he couldn't turn up in his, dad's Tarago, and that's a status thing. That's what people think of me, and what I need to put out into the world to say that I'm successful for you to buy this house. I mean, that I'm not in the game, so it makes a little bit of sense, but I'm like, really? Like, I can do my job if I rode my bike there.
You weren't in the game as a real estate agent yourself, but you were a buyer of a house.
Yeah.
So would that have affected you if the principal had shown up in a Toyota Tarago or something
wearing
like that?
shorts and
shorts and thongs or something?
Me personally, and I don't know if I'm a minority, but to me, I'd actually have more respect for that. But only for the fact that, like, I was like, I wouldn't be like, oh, this guy's, this real estate agent's going under. I'd be like, oh, this guy's got some, whats. But for me, like, the only reason I noticed the cars is because they stood out to the other cars in the street.
Yeah.
But I don't know, like, I don't see that as, look, that didn't make me buy a house for them, and that doesn't even make me think they're successful. That just makes me they're in debt. Like, they've got a loan for that car that, and I look around at all the cars around my suburb, around every suburb that in Australia, there's cars there that people are living above their means, because that is a status symbol. Yeah. What they drive and put themselves out on the street, that's, people, they want to perceive, that they are, a Mustang, or they are, whatever it might be. So it's, cars are funny things about status, but yeah.
You use the term status symbol, and when I think of a symbol, I think it's like a shorthand way of telling someone something.
Yep.
Just instantly.
Straight to the point.
Yeah, if someone's wearing a Ukraine flag on their shirt, obviously they support Ukraine at the moment.
Yep.
Totally understandable. So symbols are a shorthand way of communicating something, and I look at, for status, we want a shorthand way of telling people that we've never met before that I'm qualified, that I'm not a loser, essentially. And it takes someone who's very secure to be able to show up as completely as themselves. Yeah. Really.
Yep. Yeah, no, it is. It does. I mean, but yeah, it's funny what people perceive, what they might think that the society thinks of them, but what actual society, and everyone's different. So like I said to you, I think, oh, well, that person must have a large loan, and then that next person along is probably thinking, oh, they're compensating for something, and another person's like, oh, wow, that car's amazing. Like three different people, within 5 meters of each other have all different opinions of you because of that symbol that you've chosen to, not flaunt, but
used to convey some sort of,
used to convey whatever message. But you probably have a completely different thought of what you want it to be, and it's maybe I'm maybe I'm a grumpy old man, but probably a waste of time.
I think so many people, want to show the world something, show the world who they are. And it's just an easy way to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, it is easy.
I want to talk about the effect of status on men. So I think I may have mentioned in a previous episode that when the alpha of a tribe of primates disappears for whatever reason, the beta male will take its place.
Yep.
And that beta male's testosterone instantly increases.
Yep.
I won't say instantly, who knows what the process is, but it increases.
Yeah.
Because that primate knows that it's now the top one in the tribe.
The top dog, yeah.
Yeah. So if you think that even your health, like testosterone is a really big thing to men, so if we think that our health is tied to our status, maybe it's time to rethink how we go about things and what we think of ourselves, because I would hate my testosterone to be dependent on the other guy in the room.
Yeah.
If we can rethink the way we see ourselves and how we value ourselves, then it'll have a great effect on our health overall.
Yeah, totally agree. If, positivity, that's, and, it's strange, like the status can affect the level of, things that go through your body but like I said, sitting out the front makes me feel good. And not because I'm there going, oh, look how powerful I am, but it's just the outlook. And I go out there when, I might want to pick me up. Literally, when I've been working from home, it's like, oh, you know what? I just need a break. I'm a bit, snowed under or whatever. You go out there and you almost instantly sort of, that's a happy place, a good place. That feeling of status is has a strong impact on your health or on your feelings, mental, physical, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
You and your son and your family, you've just explained that your clothes are from the garbage.
That's exactly right, Jarad.
And it looks great on you.
Thank you.
I'm not saying garbage. It's actually, for people, it's an Adidas jumper, Nike shorts. We're talking reasonable stuff here, and it's looks new. I don't know how, but anyway,
it probably is new.
He wouldn't walk down the street. He's not wearing a garbage bag. So just trying to explain that.
Oh, that would be gold.
Yeah, design a garbage bag. I mean, yeah. But look, what you guys do, you're at the front of someone's house or someone's unit block, or there's people around. There's people walking past. How does that have an effect? You have to have some thick skin. You've probably copped a little bit of negativity doing it. You've explained how positive some people are, but the other side of it, it has to affect. I know that what your son does is a passion. So no amount of sort of negativity is going to really affect him. But you would have copped some people giving you a hard time or even giving you a dodgy look. Does that affect, we talk about status affecting your testosterone and your health. Does that affect you guys? Do you have to debrief when you come home? Is it something that, you guys talk about a lot?
So I just want to paraphrase your question. You're a family of scabs. How do you feel about that? Was that it, basically?
Something along those lines, yeah. I haven't heard that word in ages.
Look, Jarad, it doesn't affect us simply because we know who we are. We haven't had much negative stuff. Some people will be like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
I haven't had that myself, but Erica and my son have. Mm-hmm. And, they politely explain. And knowing how much my son gets out of it, knowing how much we're helping the planet.
Yeah.
We're getting so much good stuff. We found a brand new kettle that we looked up. It was worth $200. Our kettle's on the fritz, so it was perfect timing. But firstly, who buys a $200 kettle? Secondly, who throws one away?
Yeah.
So,
I
know. Really, if you want to say that someone's got a problem here, I don't think it's us.
Yeah.
Don't blame the scabs for picking up perfectly good stuff.
Yeah.
So I don't have a self-esteem problem there. Secondly, like I said before, we know who we are. That's the most important thing.
Yeah.
we're not doing this because we're not capable. We're not doing this because we are poor. The energy is right.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, if I saw a really poor family doing this, it would break my heart.
Yeah.
If I saw homeless people doing it, I'd be like, oh gosh, I wish I could help.
Because it's a necessity.
Yeah.
And they probably don't want it. Well, I'll guarantee they wouldn't want to be doing it.
Yeah, exactly. But when you have a child who's a garbage enthusiast or waste management enthusiast, who's been cleaning up, people's trash since he was a kid, basically, since he could walk, he was picking up garbage. To be spending time with his mother and his father as well, doing this as a hobby and making money off it, to me, that's a success story.
Yeah.
And you mentioned thick skin. Look, criticism to us is nothing. We don't mind if people laugh at us. We don't mind if people say, what kind of lifestyle is this? To me, freedom is the most important thing. And if status is holding you back, then that's not free at all. That's you're basically living to please other people.
Yeah.
But it also highlights how hard it is to have the courage to be yourself, Jarad, when you say, is this hard?
I know I've driven by things and I've picked up the odd thing here and there, right? Like, and I know, like, I pull up and I drive a ute. So I drive something that I can use something I see that's bulky and it's like, oh, wow, I could do that in the garage, or it's a tool, or something that someone's, a bench or something that no one needs. And I'm like, that's perfect for, it's not I don't do it a lot, but when I do actually have a sense of like, oh, I better do this quickly. Like shame, even.
Yeah.
Now, the more you do it, I would imagine that you lose that sort of thought, but I don't even know where that shame comes from. Because, hey, like you said, I'm saving this landfill, something at landfill. I'm giving something an extra life. Like, I'm using something like it should be used. Like, it's just, there's something attached to it. And I think it's just a society that, hey, we need to buy, like, why are you picking up someone's waste, But that same society will walk to the markets and pay $50 for that same lamp that you found on the side of the road because it's old and arty and whatever, but they paid for it at a market. That same lamp sitting on the side of the road, and that's just a society thing, I think. And as I'm talking it out, I think it's just the shame, and shame's probably a strong word, but
it is a strong word.
But the feeling, the uneasy feeling you get, I think that just comes from, what are people going to think of this?
Yeah.
I'm like, my number plate's here, my car's here. People can see everything.
Yeah.
If they want to look me up, they can look me up. Now everyone has a camera. Everyone has a video camera. I can be on YouTube.
Yeah.
You guys probably are on YouTube. Well, you are, but you probably don't even know about it. So yeah.
You nailed it. It comes down to societal expectations, doesn't it? And you can feel that.
Yeah.
You're tied to that. As a member of our society, you know what the rules are.
Just naturally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No one explained to you that this is not a thing that you do. In fact, you had to retrain yourself to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's doing something outside the box of, it's, look, this episode is a lot of realization as I'm talking. So, you'll hear me go, oh, wow, and try and spit out what I'm trying to say. But yeah, it's definitely something that, you probably, like I said, the passion that he has for it and you guys have for it outweigh that uneasiness that I would feel doing that.
Yeah.
But I agree with everything you do. So I don't judge what you do because, to be honest, I love the old stuff. I think your son has an amazing eye.
Oh, can't believe it.
Some of the stuff you've shown me that he's sold. Some of the stuff that he's kept out of landfill, but it's a great eye. Like, it really is. I'm no expert, but, I'm an armchair expert because I do follow things like that. And yeah, he's got a talent.
Yeah. And he's enjoying himself. That's the other thing.
That's what we want as dads, as parents, I
just want to go back to when you said, you used the word shame. And in this sense, it's almost like shame is a loss of status, isn't it? You get knocked down a peg. Yeah. Someone saw you and all of a sudden you've gone from successful man to guy that goes through garbage.
Yeah.
You know, we're a family of raccoons. We're all the way down here. So, you know, we've got no status. But just, you know, tying it back to our original topic, we are afraid of losing that, aren't we? We're afraid of going down a peg in someone's eyes. And go, no, I'm only doing this because
Yeah. You should see my mates. Their whole family do it.
Yeah. They're real scabs. They're losers. Seriously.
I'll ring him.
You should see what he's wearing right now.
Yeah, I know. And you try and make an excuse, like, why you're doing it. Well, you shouldn't have to, but it's out there to be thrown away. If you can use something, like, here we are. We've gone to the environmental side of things here, but if you can use something and save the world in that little part, you know, like, obviously everyone's doing their bit. That to me is a bonus.
I go through the bins, the recycling bins with my son as well, because he does a return and earn.
Yep.
Does really well out of it.
Yep.
You know, he could pay our petrol every week if he wanted to. That's how well he does. And, you know, I can imagine what that looks like to a lot of people. You know, these guys going around with their rubber gloves on and, you know, going through
in their
bins.
garbage clothes.
Yeah, exactly. Now, maybe in a few years when my son's older and, you know, taller than me, it'll look even worse.
Yeah.
Because, you know, two grown men doing it, it's like, oh, wow, that's really sad. But you know what? Our bins get so full. We genuinely are doing the environment a favour, firstly. But secondly, the money that he's making out of it, there's nothing wrong with that.
I agree. And, you know, I do the return and earn, not to that scale, but I do the return and earn of just our bottles and family, like they save them. And I make enough money to, you know, put in my PayPal and just buy a few things here and there, you know, like, not that I need to, but it's kind of like, I don't know, the hunt.
Yeah.
But I feel like I'm earning, you know. But I know, I don't know them personally, but the person that, actually my dad's neighbour, they bought a new car with return and earn.
Wow.
Yeah. They're intensely chasing the bottle, but they bought a brand new car, cash, like, with all the, like, they had a decent setup at their house. I mean, they had, like, you know, these big, and everyone in the neighbourhood knew that they did it, and they would bring the stuff to them. Like,
wow.
They had it, they'd drive around and pick up, like, people would leave their stuff on the side, and and then Dad was like, see that car there? They bought that.
Wow.
They got that with return and earn. I no idea the length of time. I don't know if it was a year or 2 years worth of collecting.
So what?
But you know what? They've got an actual thing there going, brand new, like, SUV, like, thing that would have cost, you know, 25, 30K.
That's incredible.
That's a lot of bottles.
Yeah.
That's a commitment. But
good on them.
Hey, look what they've achieved, you know. And, you know, I know a lot of people that do it and get they don't get a car out of it, but, you know, some people do it and, you know, they'll take a ute load of stuff at a time, and it's amazing. But,
well, you can't buy a brand new car with shame, Jarad.
No, you can't.
That's incredible. Thank you for that story. I'm going to go buy a brand new car now.
Well, save your bottles.
But that's awesome. That really is. And look, if there's anyone out there feeling like they have to play by the rules of society, you do know what the rules are, don't you? You've been told through media and just through culture in general. We know what the rules are, but it's not compulsory.
No, it's nothing illegal about it. It's just...
You can opt out.
Yeah.
You can opt out of the game. I sure have.
Uh-huh.
Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. We've loved connecting with you. And this isn't about building our status, but we want you to get in contact with us, subscribe, follow, like, all that sort of stuff on our socials, which is YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. And please get in contact with us if you have our personal details. We love hearing from you. Yep. Share any ideas you've had. Give us feedback and just say hello.
Yep, that's the best one.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jarad.
Thank you, mate.